You've seen NASCAR drivers with their jumpsuits littered with all those ads and the names of companies that are throwing money at them. So how about we do the same thing with our politicians? Well, that's precisely the idea behind a 2016 proposed ballot initiative, which would require state legislators to wear the logos of their top 10 campaign contributors on their clothing when they advocate for policies on the Senate or Assembly floor. I mean, I could just picture it now, Margaret. I think it's hilarious, and it's a really good idea. The guy behind it, he's a transparency advocate from California. He's also an entrepreneur. His name is John Cox, a very intelligent guy. Now, he's kicking off this campaign. The advocacy group is called California is Not for Sale. I think that's a really good name, too. So far, I mean, we're in the very, the infancy of this whole thing. But nonetheless, I think it's important to talk about. So he's been holding these press events, right, trying to gain some traction and get a little bit of steam behind this whole thing. He has these press events where he has like 120 cardboard cutouts of all the state legislators here in California, and then he puts these logos all over them to have people kind of see what it would look like. And it's actually, it's really funny. I mean, we're seeing logos like, Coca-Cola, Chevron, there you go, AT&T, Verizon, all sorts of stuff, because, we know that is a huge problem here in this country, especially in California. We're known for having a very dysfunctional legislature. I have a quote from him, so I want to let you guys know what he thinks about this and what he's saying. This is what he says. This is a very serious initiative. This is not a joke. If you came down from Mars and you looked at our electoral system, you'd say to yourself, how dumb is this? You've got a system under which people who want something from government fund the campaigns of the people who make the decisions. How stupid is that system? And I really do agree. Some people say that, dark money in politics is the biggest threat to democracy. What do you say, Margaret?
It absolutely is. I mean, he's onto something. Some of these guys, though, or women too, not necessarily in California, but the nation, they'd have to have like a wedding gown train because they're so sponsored.
You only get
only 10.
But you don't choose, though, right? It's this group that chooses what 10 they will put on your clothing.
We've had campaign finance reform on the Hill. It's so funny because they're policing themselves. We're going to institute campaign finance reform, and then Sarbanes-Oxley comes along, and there's not really much campaign finance reform. Big corporations are always going to be able to get around those laws. It's individuals they're hurting. They capped individual donations. Meanwhile, you have these super PACs that seem limitless. What do you do, Nick? I mean,
what do? You do precisely this. You slap on, you make them look like Ricky Bobby in the Senate. Yeah. But this would affect, not only conservatives, everybody. I mean, this is across party lines. Everyone's guilty of doing it. They're all dirty. And this guy himself, he's actually a conservative himself, although a very unique conservative. He is very against unlimited corporate sponsoring, obviously, also against the death penalty. So he's not your run-of-the-mill.
He sounds like a Catholic.
I don't know his religious background, but why stop there? Why don't we start slapping like Coca-Cola insignias on like scientists and stuff doing research on childhood obesity? That'd be a good reason
change.
too.
Exactly. Who's funding your climate change research, sir? Which you and I have covered. It's shocking. The same people that are polluting the system are actually funding climate change research.
Right. So like I said, this is in the infancy, and we're going to have to see where this goes.
Look, it's unlikely. It's a great idea, but getting that passed, come on. Who's going to vote for it?
Well, he's actually very, very, very confident in this. Mr. Cox owns 5 different businesses. He's a very wealthy guy. He says, I'm no Donald Trump, but he says he does have enough. He does have enough, and he says he has what it takes to get this on the ballot in 2016.